Welcome back, everyone, to the latest monthly update for the TQQQ challenge. It is Friday evening, February 20th, 2026. We'll be examining the recent market turbulence and analyzing the price action of TQQQ over the last 4 weeks. Let's begin with TQQQ's current status. TQQQ is trading around $50, somewhat below last month's $54. Looking back at the journey, TQQQ hit a prior all-time high of $46.90 on December 16, 2024, before that brutal drop to just $17.50 on April 7, 2025. The recovery was spectacular, with TQQQ achieving a new all-time high of $60 on October 29, 2025. Since November, we've witnessed a roller coaster ride with 4 notable dips: $45 in November, $49 in December, $50 in January, and $46 in February. This volatility stands in stark contrast to the stable upward momentum from May to November, when TQQQ consistently stayed above the SMA 50 purple line. For experienced TQQQ investors, this kind of volatility is expected several times each year. Looking at this TQQQ daily chart from Finviz, we're in what I call a hold or wait and see phase. TQQQ is caught between long-term support at the SMA 200 line and short-term resistance above. A break above this resistance with strong volume would signal the AI-driven rally continues. However, dropping below the SMA 200 support would likely trigger a deeper correction. Remember, TQQQ is engineered to deliver 3 times the daily returns of QQQ, so understanding the Nasdaq 100's health is absolutely critical. The market has shown incredible resilience since April 7, 2025. QQQ surged from $402 on April 7 to a peak of $637 on October 29, 2025. For most of that period starting May 1, QQQ held firmly above the SMA 50 purple line. However, the pattern changed since November 14, 2025. QQQ has now dipped below the SMA 50 purple line 5 times: November, December 2025, early January, mid-January, and February 2026. The key difference this time is that QQQ hasn't bounced back as quickly. It dropped below the SMA 50 purple line on February 4, attempted to reclaim it on February 11, but failed. Currently, QQQ sits at $608, positioned below the SMA 50 purple line but still above the crucial SMA 200 green line. The big questions now are: can QQQ push back above the SMA 50 purple line and eventually challenge the double top line at $637? If it falls further, will it find solid support at the SMA 200 green line? My phased investment approach is straightforward. I deploy small amounts of capital when price drops below the SMA 50 purple line. I preserve a medium allocation for a potential move down toward the SMA 200 green line, and I keep the largest portion ready if price falls decisively below the SMA 200 green line. I also watch secondary indicators like volume, RSI, and Bollinger Bands to confirm my decisions. Since our channel emphasizes long-term investing, let me show you this monthly QQQ chart for perspective. The big picture is remarkable. QQQ has stayed above the SMA 50 purple line continuously from 2009 to 2026. Even more impressive, QQQ has been above the SMA 20 black line most of the time since 2009, with the 2022 bear market being the exception. QQQ remains well above the SMA 200 green line. Over the past 10 years, QQQ has been in price discovery mode, consistently hitting new record highs. Notice the 3 parallel lines: the SMA 20 black line on top, the SMA 50 purple line in the middle, and the SMA 200 green line at the bottom. This stacking order, where shorter-term averages sit above longer-term ones, is the classic signature of a healthy, sustained bull market. I believe this 17-year bull market has legs to continue for many more years. Now let's talk about what happened this week. On February 20, 2026, the U.S. stock market rallied after the Supreme Court struck down President Trump's sweeping global tariffs in a landmark 6-3 decision. The court ruled that the executive branch lacked authority to impose such broad taxes under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. This news sparked optimism, with the S&P 500 rising 0.7% and the Nasdaq climbing 0.9%, breaking a 5-week losing streak for the tech-heavy index. Investors anticipated relief from trade friction and the potential refund of billions in collected duties. Retailers and industrial giants saw particularly strong gains, while international markets in Europe and the UK also surged on hopes for reduced global trade tensions. However, the rally was tempered when the president immediately announced a new 10% global tariff via executive order using alternative legal authorities. While the Supreme Court ruling provides a significant constitutional check on presidential power and offers short-term clarity for businesses, analysts remain cautious about long-term stability. The market now faces a messy transition involving new protectionist measures and fiscal uncertainty around $175 billion in potential tariff refunds that could pressure Treasury yields. Turning to the economic outlook, the latest GDP Now forecast projects U.S. GDP growth for the first quarter of 2026 at a healthy 3.1%. This is a solid improvement from the negative 0.5% contraction in Q1 2025, the 3.8% growth in Q2, the 4.4% growth in Q3, and the 1.4% growth in Q4. The CME FedWatch tool now suggests the Federal Reserve will likely cut interest rates twice in 2026, with the first cut expected in July and the second in October. Meanwhile, Polymarket shows the perceived probability of a U.S. recession in 2026 has dropped from 47% in September to just 22% today. Remember, peak recession odds for 2025 hit 66% on Polymarket, yet no recession materialized. The Fear and Greed Index moved down to 43 this month from 53 last month, now registering a state of fear. Let's check our portfolio performance. I haven't added any TQQQ shares since last month. Yesterday, I placed several limit orders to buy TQQQ at $43, $44, $45, and $46, but none have executed yet. My total capital investment remains at approximately $20,100. My investment plan is clear. Since December 2023, I've targeted around $12,000 per year. My goal is to commit a total of $36,000 by the end of November 2026, fulfilling my $12,000 annual investment target for the 3-year period. I plan to deploy this capital aggressively when price approaches or falls below the SMA 200 green line. That said, we must be realistic. QQQ may not touch the SMA 200 green line for quite some time. Currently, I hold 654 shares of TQQQ with an average cost basis of $30.81. My portfolio is valued at approximately $32,700, with total unrealized gains of about $12,500. That translates to a 62% return, down from the 75% return and $15,200 in paper gains I reported last month. For a detailed comparison, check out our January 2026 TQQQ update video. I haven't sold any TQQQ shares since 2023 and don't plan to unless I see unmistakable signals of an imminent, severe market crash. My long-term goal remains unwavering: invest $360,000 over 30-plus years to achieve multi-million-dollar portfolio growth. For the full rationale, watch my video Cash vs. SPY vs. QQQ vs. QLD vs. TQQQ, 30-year showdown. My investment methodology rests on 4 core principles. First, monthly investing, consistently committing about $1,000 into TQQQ every month. Second, enhanced dollar cost averaging, or EDCA, buying more aggressively during market downturns and less during peaks. Third, sell before crashes. I'll only exit when I see clear signals of a major market collapse, with full intent to reinvest at substantially lower prices. Fourth, no margin. I strictly avoid all forms of debt to ensure financial security and minimize risk. The financial markets continue evolving rapidly, driven by technological innovation and explosive AI expansion. Our mission is simple: stay laser-focused, maintain discipline, and remain deeply committed to our long-term investment framework. Thank you for joining this month's update. If you found this analysis helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell so you never miss new content. Your support gives incredible energy and purpose to this challenge. Until the next update, take care, stay disciplined, and happy investing.